poster that we did in 2011, more into information driven as we proposed, and then we based on a theme, on a speed, and then we figure out the different style. And in 2012, you have also a 2-day or 1-day symposium. At that time, your professor also approached us to, under the same system, whether we could construct also a very slightly different poster. So at that time, we keep the four corner, but we try to figure out homecoming as a theme of the symposium. But we're still keeping image. But we are trying to making a slightly different, but still very clear. And for 2012, which one of the posters that I like quite a lot for this one is called Inform. So we try to make the Inform as a, because every time the theme is very abstract. It's a kind of the playing around the concept of the text of the theme. And our job is to visualize the word. So it's a kind of visualization of image and text. So once they got a theme, they will send to us, and we will discuss about how we can, based on just one word, and we can create and design a poster. At that time, we think that Inform, and then in between, there's an evolving space. And that's why we try to form, in a visual sense, is a kind of Jovian. It's a kind of different form. It's a kind of a different shape. And then we think that we need to not just plain type, but in a sense that we create a very abstract form. So we put simply very texturized form, and then we put in slightly next to it. So it's a kind of inside the form or in form. So we create this kind of abstract graphics, and this is the development. And finally, we figure out a very abstract poster. But they like it very much because it's so simple, but still you have an atmosphere. You can feel this is not just information, but you can feel this is related to the theme form. And that's why you can see information put inside between in and form. And start from this year, we also developed a new system. We tried to give up the four corner. Instead, we're keeping the same system, because every year they could allow us to change something, and then we would discuss how we can evolving. So this year called projecting, and then we keeping the same concept, but we try to make it very abstract background into architectural structural form, but in a rational alignment of the text. So you can see it's a kind of balance, but it's still, this one and the previous one is similar, but it's different. And for sure, you will see some posters like on the corridors inside the faculties. And the new one was called Local and Locus. And so you could see this one, we need to follow the system. We try to figure out, the corner element. Instead, we try to play around, because we like the theme, and that's why it's double arrow. So you can see it's a counterpoint of arrow and arrow. So we try to use two colors to figure out what very structures as an arrow. It's a very balanced composition in terms of graphic design. But you can see how the wording accurate or echo with those alignment, which is rotated totally different, but in the sense that it's still a very strong theme. So you can see this series is we try to adapt into the future development of the theme as well. In 2012, we also designed your degree show as well. But because we know that actually every year the show should be done by the students, but at that year, because they are under a transformation of the new branding, and that's why they also want us to, just using the original system, we try to put the graphics inside to tell about how the degree show could work. And we came up with a very interesting idea to make one poster and then to rotate, because we know that the D and the P is a kind of same alphabet in interesting for the small cap and the big cap of P. So that's why we use this as a small D, and then use two fluorescent color for the green and the blue one to make it like you can see this is a kind of gradient from blue to green. And very detailed, but it echoes, because from the architecture, from faculty point of view, they think that both things is equal. The degree show and public review, so it's balanced. So we need to construct a balance in one poster. in a sense, we don't have enough budget to make it 2 posters. That's why we have an idea to make just 1 poster, but you rotate it so that you can keep it as a wallpaper once you're inside the decorations. But I mean, the feedback was good because they came to us that, wow, because this is safe, we save the cost, but in the sense that we play around the format of the poster, and then it became a very strong visual identity. And that's why that poster, we proposed them how to make it, how to stake it actually. And then the teacher, they understood our idea, and then they came up with a very interesting executions. And the second project that we worked with Faculty of Architecture was with the landscape department. In 2011, they have a project called Counterpart City, and they participate in the Shenzhen Biennale for the architecture. They have a theme about, so which is this one? So you know about this for sure. So this is a very biggest event in China, in Shenzhen, about just like Venice Biennale, but they have a Chinese one, which is located in Shenzhen. I mean, this year will be happening in December, so you have to go because this is a very big event in China, and then they also becoming very international standard. And 2 years ago, the faculty, they submitted a proposal called Counterpart City, and then it was approved to decorate in Shenzhen. So the theme is about climate change and water, and Hong Kong and Shenzhen. So it's a kind of a landscape study about how the climate change affect the 2 cities, and also with the water. And we know the idea, and then we like the idea, and then we have to construct in the project. Our job is to construct the exhibition identity. So the exhibition design was done by the faculty, was done by the landscape department, and we have to construct the graphic identity for them so that it could become a very unique exhibition. So at that time, so I would love to show you the process because this is very interesting. We developed a lot. We spent 3 months to develop the whole process, and then we proposed 2 directions. And finally, we chose one, and then we modified it. So this is the first development. We know that there are 3 keywords, counterpart, because it's what relate to Shenzhen and Hong Kong, the neighborhood city, and then the water and climate change. And we try to construct if we could develop a typeface that could have interaction meaning, and also with the landscape and the flow of the climate and water kind of concept. So finally, we think that we could create a very abstract typeface from the bottom part and the upper part. So upper part means Shenzhen, and the bottom part means Hong Kong because it's the location. But we also try to echo with the climate and water, and then we try to construct. So this is just a very rough try. We know that there are a lot of curve, it's too much. But I mean, the faculty like this idea, but need to modify into a simple version. But it's funny that we construct a full typeface. It's a kind of too much for the curve, so that we try to simplify it. But the reason why I try to show you because development is very important. Even though when you become a professional, you would have mistake, you would have something that you don't like, but you have to keep it. Every time I would keep in my research PDF, and I will show to my client because this is very important to let your client know how you develop from a very simple idea to the finished product. But in the sense that if they like it, they will pick you and then try to figure out how we can modify. But if you don't have this process, you never jump into a very good final outcome. It's the same in architecture. And that's why we try to, from this typeface, we construct a title. We construct, because our requirement is to make a very, very big heading. Because they have a huge wall, and then we need to put all the bilingual text, and Chinese and English. So we have to study whether if we put it like 1 meters by 1 meters height, whether the typeface could be strong. And then we think that this direction, the concept is good, but too much curve. And that's why we also adapt into some graphic panel. So you will see how we construct the panel. This is just template. It's not the final. But you will see how this typeface could become an interesting composition in the identity. And also we have defined different zone. So the second development was to put it in the very concept from different tiny what we call it is rotating. We want to create a rotating typography, and that's why, because it echoes with the water and the climate change, and that's why, but it's kind of hard to read. So finally, you can see we try to figure out the structure of the typeface. Actually, I like this idea, but it's too experimental. When you put it in a small scale, you can't read it. So we finally chose the first direction. But in a sense that we, based on typeface, we construct this kind of interesting motion. So this could be work if we just putting one alphabet, or in a big video screen, just moving, and that would be nice. But in a sense, we have to also print the small postcard and poster, all the tiny publications, and that's why we need to consider as a whole structure of the project. So we also test the adaptation of the template as well. So you could see this is a kind of interesting layout. So you can see this version is good, and when we blow up as a very one alphabet, one numbers, it's very strong. But we put it in a wall, that would be a kind of difficult for people to recognize each alphabet. So apart from typeface for this project, our job is to analyze the whole scale, and we need to carefully define color, because they would display the graphic panel for all the landscape drawing by the students and also by professionals. So we have to look at it as a whole, how to project the color system to the public, because designer is to communicate your part and then to inside the public community, so they can understand what you're doing. So basically we define 3 layers. We define basically the wall background and then the individual panel, and then we have heading and details. So basically we define this color system, and then we create a basic lookup of how we put the panel. The panel, here, the white area is all the drawings, architectural drawings. And we have defined different area from the board. And they have a secondary color system which inspired from all the drawings, because we need to define, okay, watercolor or the line color or this kind of thing, but they could have the freedom to make it as well. So we try to send this color scheme to those participants of different architectural firms, so they would follow the color on their drawing. So finally, the outcome would become each drawing with a different style, but still keeping the consistency on the color. In a sense that you don't see one is too different from others. And this is already our part that we need to consider. So even though they have 3D rendering, they're still keeping the tone of the color is like a small portion of a vibrant color and a more natural color. So the final thing is interesting to see different collaborators, their work is very good and very different, and we embed the whole system. So take to the final typeface. So this one is the final, so you can see it's more clear, more structural, but still keeping the first direction, right? And then take out all the curve. And this would become, we like this direction a lot because we think that it's so simple, and also telling the same story of having like bottom and upper part. And finally, we construct a simplified Chinese version because it's in Shenzhen. That's why we need to simplify Chinese and English. And we made the Chinese as an outline, which we also having like a space in between Chinese word. Finally, you can see all the title is very clear, and also it's good to mix with simplified Chinese as well. So even though just a typeface, but our job is to carefully to define each area. So typeface is not just easy thing. It's a kind of a complex. So I think it's a more detailed job as well, detailed professional. So finally, we construct a poster. So this is the poster, and the back side is the leaflet. So the poster could be folded into a panel, into different panel, and then you can read it. And this is the Shenzhen version. So this is the setup period. So we work with the contractor from Shenzhen, and that's why they have a lot of problem. But it's funny to see that how we, from this kind of chaotic printed graphics, so every panel is a kind of different, to the final. I think this is the final area, but we like it because it's so huge like 4 meters high or 5 meters high at least. And you will see the typeface is so standard in each area, even though simply typeface. But we work with a team on the whole idea of how even the more small caption, so we construct all the graphics, and then the faculty construct the exhibitions. So you could see, actually, in 2 years in Shenzhen Biennale, that time this booth was quite successful, and they attract a lot of attentions on the professional as well. They like how we adapt typeface, and they like the color as well. So finally, this exhibition also moved to Hong Kong in Central Oasis Gallery. But you know, Hong Kong, they have no space actually. So Central Oasis is just a very small area. But still, we keep the concept to make the exhibition area quite outstanding. So we gave up all the big wall. Instead, they have a very small scale installation. But we also keep a very simple typeface. But still, keeping some area could be strong. So even though Central Oasis is a long way, we can maintain the consistency with the Shenzhen one, which is also, we like it as well, because it's much smaller, but in a sense of details, we still keep the concept. So start from these two projects. Actually, our new project for this year we just finished was the PolyU Design School of Design. So you know, PolyU, they have an annual show, just like your degree show, and they have a new tower by Sahadi in Hong Kong, Choi Ma Wu Chong San Lau. So this is a new tower just dedicated to School of Design. So School of Design, you know, next year will be 50 years anniversary of School of Design Polytechnic, and they moved to this new building just September this year, and they approach us to help them to create, because this is a very important project. So, and then they approach us to help to design the visual identity of their student show. Because in the summer, actually, they want us to be a professional to look at the whole design system and how it could be project the new building concept. So this is the first exhibition in PolyU for this new building. So we create a theme, design move. So simple. So you understand move, 移动. So design move is a kind of motto from, you know, in PolyU, they just have an exhibition in the old campus in Core A, and for already 20 years. And since now they moved to the new place, the Jockey Club Innovation Tower, and that's why this theme is done by us actually. We proposed to the whole School of Design marketing team, and they like the theme because they literally they have a concept of design move from old building to new building, and also from the second meaning is a kind of movement for students. It's a kind of moving forward in the students' creative endeavors. So it's a kind of challenge for how students could use this theme, because we have to, our target is not just design professional. Of course, it's professional design community happenings, but also we have to consider PolyU alumni. We also carefully consider how PolyU students that responds to the poster. And that's why they like the theme very much, and then we base on the type system to echo with Saha concept of the layer of architecture. And that's why we construct a typeface based on this idea to make it also a kind of moving style from just typeface. And finally, we develop a very simple poster. Maybe you have seen in MTR KCL line, Hong Kong line, because at that time they have around 50 light bulbs. So this is the first light bulb that we think is good because we can use design to put in a very commercial MTR light bulbs. And then the PolyU like this design very much because it's so simple to articulate how design moved from the old building to the new tower, but not putting just the architecture image. And the reason why we chose black and white, because we want to propose PolyU, the new move, as a new start. So the new start, as we don't want to have color, as a black and white for the restart of everything. For the restart, because color, you know, the black and white is the primary, the basic color. So everything from black and white and then to spread into colorful. And that's why we think black and white is also echo with also the architecture space inside. And we also play around the stairs, which for the layer, actually it moves. So when people walk upstairs, this is the entrance. I don't know how many guys you have been there or not yet, but find a time to visit because it's quite good and then very, very nice inside. And we propose to make the stair as a moving concept, and that's why they like it. We propose for the backdrop to make it extrude, and that's why it's a kind of have a 3D layer. And we propose to make it a rotating board. So this is a kind of backdrop. So design move, we try to make it flip. So when we rotate this area, it's the students, the best of show. So it's the best students' work. So in a sense that people will take photograph in here as a kind of a mobile backdrop, and also articulate the concept of move for the installation design. So you can see it's interesting. We still just cut it, and then you can see everything is moved from horizontal and vertical. And I mean, this project was quite successful because even not just the student like it, the professional design community like it, and also the public community, they have a very good response for this show because it's the big. I mean, it's the first show for happen in the new tower, and that's why the whole School of Design, they also very look at very important projects. And finally, we made a very big vinyl stickers inside the buildings. So this is a kind of screening room for animations, for the animation students. We just simply made a very strong black sticker outdoor as a kind of echo with the inner space. And we construct carefully with each area. So this is called work integrated education. So it's a corner echo with the professional industry, how design, School of Design work with professional industry, and then to have opportunity for students to explore. And then they would display all the professional works. And of course, we have the course name, BA on in design, environmental and interior design. And then we try to find all the possible space by Saha, and then we just put a sticker. So everything is just like slide and then the vertical, horizontal. But the final outcome is very strong. So this is the Hong Kong MTR stations. So inside this station, they have already 25 light bulbs during 3 weeks. So I think this is a good way how the marketing people, we discuss together how they buy the media, how they buy the magazine, and then we discuss together. And then we think that the strategy is so important because at that time, every people will know there's a new happening inside the PolyU. And for sure, we have also the souvenir because the students like this t-shirt very much because on the back is move, on the front is design. And they also construct the iPad for the website, which is kind of kiosk for all the venues. And we also made some simply white wood stand based on numbers. So it indicates the different number as a signage. So that people won't get lost on that. And apart from PolyU, we also work with CDU, City University, which is they have a very flagship course called School of Creative Media, which is also a very important creative school in Hong Kong. At that time, in 2012, they changed the new logo. So also, you can see in Hong Kong, there are kind of a new arising of different architectural projects. So this is by Daniel Libeskind. So it's the first project by Daniel Libeskind in the whole China market. Okay, Saha, they have a lot of projects in China, but Daniel Libeskind, they have just one project in Hong Kong. So this is the Run Shaw Creative Media Center. So it's owned by City University Hong Kong, but inside the building, they have four faculty. So our project is to rebrand the whole School of Creative Media. So this is the inside area. So you will see it's quite Daniel Libeskind style, and then the basic color is just black and white and red. So this is the previous image. Maybe if you know some of the creative friends, they may be study in PolyU School of Design or in CDU Creative Media. And this is style, this course was established in 2000. Actually, it's not long. It's just 13 years. But they have a huge, very high reputation right now in Asia because they are very focused on creative media, and also the professors are very, very international. And that's why since 2000, they try to make just a kind of a very traditional logo on the Asian style stamp, and that's it. Because they recorded this is the Asian, very unique creative media, but in a sense that from our point of view, they don't have relationship with moving. They don't have relationship with creative media, because creative media is kind of moving, evolving as a concept. And that's why they know that they have a new building in 2012, in 2011, and that's why they need to rebrand it. The management know the importance of design, and that's why they approach us to do the rebranding. And this is the website. Basically, they don't have design. And you don't think this is a kind of creative media in university level. You think it's just like a pirate school drawing or this kind of kindergarten style. But this happened around in Hong Kong, and that's why we made a careful studies. Even though the inside signage, everything is chaotic, because they don't have a system of typeface. They don't have a system on for the right is a kind of flyer or something. So everything is just messy, right? And even though the poster is horrible, because they could just very typical university poster, right? So it's a kind of Christmas party, and then a kind of jam, but it's a creative media, right? So we made actually the management, the dean, the professor, they realized this problem, but they cannot solve it. And that's why at that time, they approached us to see whether we need to change the design. Otherwise, if the new building is by Daniel Libeskind, how come we can have this kind of design sticking all around the building, right? But this happened in all universities in Hong Kong, I would say. And that's why we try to, but it's a very complicated process, because we have to be layer by layer, hierarchy by hierarchy, to persuade the whole school and also the City University of Hong Kong. And finally, we construct a system based on the architectural point of view, create a logo for SCM. Because inside the building, SCM is just one of the faculty. SCM is not, they are not the owner of this building. That's why we cannot just using design logo for this building. Instead, we have to extract the element to become an abstract interpretation of the SCM identity. So basically, we know that this building is important. We try to see how we could construct of the creative media is moving. And that's why we try to make it layer, and then it's a kind of moving. It's not horizontal, vertical alignment. It's just different line you will see is different. But in the sense that the composition we call the architecture, but it's not just tracing. And the right corner is a kind of free slope, because SCM, they have a very powerful free area, which is creativity, research, technology, which is quite different from School of Design, because School of Design is dedicated design, right? But SCM, they really into research technologies and new media, of course. And that's why technology means all the possibility of new media. And we combine the two ideas, and also inside, they have a lot of interesting slope of the wall, echo with the Libeskind architecture. And that's why we actually think this is a very good meaning to articulate the whole story of SCM. So finally, we came with the new branding of SCM. And the management really like it, the dean really like it, and then the whole thing, once they adopt the new, we maintain over 2 years, last 2 years, for all the big projects, from the school prospectus, from the flyer, from the e-news, from the Christmas cards. So we have two versions. One is primary black and white. One is red version, echo with the interior space. And we have to carefully construct with the proportion of City University of Hong Kong, because SCM is the biggest flagship right now under CityU, because they have their building and they have the very international content, and that's why the CityU invests a lot on in these flagships. And that's why we have to be careful construct the proportion. And also from the color scheme, you can see so clearly, because from the black and white, and we chose the secondary color as a silver gray, and also red as a secondary, as a complement color, because inside the building they have a kind of proportion of red. And that's why we made from logo to, this is just a poster for high school, for Form 6, Form 7 at that time. for them, after rebranding, they need to immediately focus on all the high school in Hong Kong, secondary school in Hong Kong, to let them know the students, because the students will be the, I mean, for sure is what they want them, for good students to came to SEM, and that's why they spend a lot of resources on printing those beautiful posters. And we made a poster, and we also made a very good brochure. So this is the brochure for SEM. So inside you will see all the facility, the faculty, everything, the professor, and the introduction of everything. And if we construct carefully with the for the dean level, with all the images selections and the work and so on. So finally, even though we created Christmas cards inspired from the architecture, because the reason is that in General University, the Christmas cards is always horrible. You can see the crazy italic font, typical like wedding style, you know. Just it doesn't match with it. But I really appreciate SCM faculty members because they think that the Christmas cards is projecting the direct brand image. So they think that if they're a professor, they need to use this Christmas card to send to the friend or the overseas, the academic people. But if they don't change this design, they use the old design, that would be terrible. Even though you spend huge resources on the overall identity. And that's why I think it's good that they really careful on tiny things. And right now we construct 2 years Christmas cards for them. And at that time, after the rebranding of SEM, they have a huge festival for the new building in 2011, which is called Roman Shaw Creative Media's Grand Opening Festival. For sure, we based on this architecture, we based on the new SEM branding, we construct a video. So basically, you can see very simple line echo with Libeskind architecture, but in the 2D graphic as a 3D space. So this is the trailer that happened in all the website, YouTube, and also with the opening ceremony for the big screening. So they never use backdrop because they are new media. So that's why they always use projections on the big wall, on the floor, or on the ceiling. So at that time, they spent a huge resources on this festival because it's run by City University Hong Kong. So it's the first time that CDU used a very international design on local institutions at that time. And our job is to do the whole branding. So they have a huge billboard on Causeway Bay, the tram board near the Central Library. So we, instead of putting very cheesy commercial or all the highlight text, we just suggest putting one building in to let the community know that there's a new building. And the two sides, we echo with the new building of simple graphics, but putting just one headline, the festival title, and also the slogan. So everything is just free, but it's kind of very, very big, bold typeface, but keeping a balance of the design. We like this tramboard very much because it's not very Hong Kong, but actually at that time it's attract a lot of attention. So finally, they print a huge amount of poster to circulate in different universities in Hong Kong and also overseas. And we construct also the program booklets. So you will see the new identity putting from not just SEM branding, but also into all the print catalog, from even we construct a color system for different research paper. So this is a research paper. And then we try to differentiate for color scheme for different facilities that they provide. And we construct a very kind of a nice paper invitation card. So this invitation card is just to government people, Hong Kong government people to attend the opening ceremony. But in a sense, we try to make it serious, but still making a die-cut shape of the architecture. And that's why they receive a very good response from government people as well. And also, we made a T-shirt as well, inspired from the building. And so this is the opening. So you will see why we're choosing this line, because actually the ceiling is the same. So everything from 2D to 3D is a kind of same consistency. And this is the opening ceremony. At that time, 邵逸夫 Roman Shaw 即係六嬸啊 謝夫嘅太太即係陸嬸大家知邊個啦 She came here for the openings, and that's why she very and also now the CEO of TVB 大家最唔中意嘅電視台啦，梁奶豹，亦都到咗呢個 opening ceremony. So it's a kind of a very media driven. So most of the television station and also most of the government people that they fund the CDU, they came to the opening, and then we proposed to make just big screen to project all the moving image. And of course, the dean level, they like it very much because it's not just printed graphics. And this is the inside area. So if you have a chance to go to inside, you will still see this public space. We still keep the concept of the graphic identity and also some signage. And the strongest thing, even though you have a very big plasma, they still keeping this kind of graphic concept. So you project, this is a very good new media school, not just a design school. And we did website design as well, follow the same system. For sure, you can see this is the environmental graphics. So actually, this is a public space. It's a cafe area. Right now, it's owned by Pacific Coffee, just like you have Starbucks downstairs. But we have a concept of even Pacific Coffee. We need to embed the architectural concept in the Pacific Coffee branding because they are kind of understand this is a very unique architecture, and they try to propose that they could change the design to echo with the space. Because Pacific Coffee, they have a series of concept stores. So you will see they never use just one style. They could mix different style, especially when they see this is a very international architecture. So they will try to make it. So this is a public space area by Pacific Coffee. So the people will sit around here and then to have a coffee, and then we decorate this wall simply by sticker. And actually, we like the idea because they echo with the ceiling for the light. And this is the whole interior atmosphere. You can feel it. So everything you can see, we just simply use the sticker, but it still works very well. And then they even changed the name to CM Cafe, Creative Media Cafe, instead of Pacific Coffee. But for sure, we have Pacific Coffee logo inside the cafe area. So it's a huge struggle because I had a meeting with Pacific Coffee headquarters from Singapore. People came to Hong Kong and then to study about the design of this coffee inside this building. But you can see this is the opening festival, the whole concept. Everything is, we have a moving signage, we have a permanent signage, we have a very interesting idea. So of course they have openings, that's why they have this kind of dragon traditional thing. But it's okay because all the dragon you can see is hand painted by digital artists. And then they made the projections inside the area, which is quite nice. It's not a traditional one. Even Daniel Libeskind came to Hong Kong to attend the opening at that time. And they have a night performance for music, for different experiments. So apart from university, we also work with some art organizations. So one is the very important client called Microwave. So it's a new media art organization in Hong Kong. So they run a very big show in commercial area in Festival Walk in Kowloon Tong in 2011. So this is a kind of power showcase of Hong Kong new media artists. Some they call it invention and intervention. Actually, I really like this name because they think that new media artists is a kind of the artists make the artwork as an invention because they use technology to invent something. So they call the artwork as an invention, but technology always intervene our life. That's why they call it invention and intervention to our life, which is I think is good. We simply call II, and that's why we need to do the visual identity for this exhibition in Festival Walk because it's so commercial, and the space is always to be very expensive cosmetic brand. In Festival Walk, they would have a motor show or the Christmas big tree, that kind of area. And that's why if we need to draw the attention of the public community, and they are the art show, and that's why it's not a major mainstream of the Hong Kong people. And that's why we have to be create a very eye-catching graphics. So that's why this is the promotion trailer, supported by Art Development Council, organized by my actually they features just 5 local artists because ADC, we call it Art Development Council, they only support the very big funding to promote the local artists, and that's why Microwave is an organization create these shows, and we are the design partner, and that's why we construct a very simple, very interesting typographic treatment for using very hard concept of the typeface, and then to make kind of invention to intervene our life. So everything is opened. The typeface is open with different color, and then we call it like different concept of interaction, integration, combination with using very hard shape and then the hard stroke. And in a sense that we define the color, and these are the local artists. And we propose to Hong Kong Art Development Council because in the past, the ADC, Art Development Council, they always use just artist portrait to make it so bold and then put a name and that's it. But in a sense, we argue that they are not celebrity, they are not pop singer. No one knows them actually, right? If you blow the image, no one understands what we are talking about. So they are not loud, they are not, okay? They are not art singer. That's why, in a sense, we need to create a visual identity, represent these happenings. And that's why we throw all the image away. We persuade them, inspired from the image. So this is Keith. This guy is a Keith Lam, which is a very talented new media artist in Hong Kong. And we, based on the typeface, we construct a portrait. And actually, they like it very much because it's so simple. And we construct the other guy, putting the very young style. And this is the only girl among the 5 artists. And Samson as well. So it's a kind of like, you could see this as a kind of transformer, right? Because they transform to different phases. And we like the pattern because because the exhibition target, the festival walk, need to ensure the target should be like young kids to old people. So it's general public. And that's why we need to find a way to attract the young people from just 5, the kindergarten kids. They think that this is a very sharp color or something. Or from the older people, they still think this is quite interesting. And this is a kind of a strategy. And it's not easy to define because it's so broad to the range. But finally, we find a system to maintain the consistency. Using these 5 portraits, we have different color version. So we have 1 color version, we have silhouette version, we have 2 color version. So all this system, we do it as a commercial branding. We define silhouette, we define 2 color version, we define the logo as a different options for color. We define simply English title, Chinese title, and the date. So all the area, we just split it and then we combine it into a very interesting phenomenon. So this is the PR photo for the press conference hosted by Art Development Council for the magazines. And even though we made a very big pie because they're using as a unit of the new media art, and they mix it as a props, right? The very interesting props for the artists to take pictures. So it's fine. And we made this is the billboard, the big poster for NPR Lightbox at that time. And we made a big amount of postcard for each artist, and we print a lot, and we circulate all the art gallery, center, cafe, and university, and high school. So finally, you can see we also construct the system of all the signage areas. So even though we construct the mind your step or sitting is prohibited, this kind of message, and interact with also, we have a mobile app as well. So we also interact with the audio tour. Of course, we have press, crew. So we treat it as a very serious visual branding. So because people, when they see this color, they recognize this is the exhibitions. So even though we construct a website, we have different, when you reload each time, the website is different combination as well. So finally, we work with the mobile app company and we construct the art direction, and they work as a back-end program part. So that's why they keep it as a very high consistency of the graphic designs as well. And one of the strongest thing is we propose to use a graphic icon to represent the artist because they could share on the Facebook. So once we create this icon, all the artists, they immediately change the portrait to their face. And then at that time, during that month, they receive a lot of good feedbacks from this project. And then they want to know who drew it. And they want to know who made this interesting icon. And then they, at the same time, they share it. So every time you will see these two artists, they share the wall. So actually it's a kind of branding because they know they change the face as time. So we consider digital platform is a very interesting media that you can play around in terms of graphic presentations. Even though you can see when they think they're keeping on the same consistency. But it's funny, even though we made a kind of iPhone a case of using laser engraving, it's not a functional case, it's just a metal plate. But it's a very beautiful because it's laser engraving. So we engrave those graphics and we send to the government people as a souvenir. So this is the final exhibition. You can see the whole video for the construction setup in Festival Walk. And Andy Lau came for the opening, that's why a lot of people. And also Dong came for. It's good you can see from this video, basically they, actually it's not big, but it's the Christmas tree area, you know the festival walk, the ground floor. One of the approaches to make the backdrop really outstanding from different sides, because we must design a surface, even from the 5th floor, from the shopping mall, you can still see the ground floor, the happenings. And that's why we blow all the panel, you can see for the graphics, especially this area. So this is the height. Actually, you cannot see it from the ground floor, but you can see from the 5th floor, from the food court. And that's why we need to consider each area that people will recognize this show happens in during that festival. But it's good because we features only 5 artwork, but it still maintain a very interesting idea. And for sure, you can see very clear that because it's supported by Art Development Council, that's why they have a lot of film and media art professionals came to here for the opening ceremony. But we are happy because we think that it's quite a successful project as well. And people could use the iPhone as an audio tool to listen to the curatorial statement and also the artist's bio and artwork concept. And we also construct the glass with the sticker of those things to echo with the artwork as well. So, and last few project was the one, we also work with Jockey Club. So Jockey Club, they have a very, actually it's a Jockey Club Charity Trust. So it's a very kind of foundation, art foundation, that put a lot of huge money to local community design and art project. We construct with YAF, Hong Kong Youth Art Foundation, which is a very good art foundation focused on high school, okay, primary and high school, so secondary students. And they got the support from Jockey Club to create a community arts biennale. So they focus on community art. So community art meaning a lot of hand